Hey guys, Inflatable Robot here, and in this video I'm going to do another edition of Init patch. This time I'm going to be using the Empress effects Zoia to create a 303 style baseline synthesizer with the modules and whatnot. I'm going to build that up and we're going to see how that sounds. Stick around. Alright, hey guys, I'm back with the Empress effects Zoia, which usually you think of as a modular effects unit, but it's actually also a modular synthesizer. It can synthesize its own sounds. So let's do so. Let's make a 303 style synth and kind of display how that works, okay? So in order to make a synthesizer, one of the first things you're going to need is an oscillator as a sound source. So let's go to the second page on here, which is page number 1. And let's drop in an output. Let's do that right there. Interface modules, audio output. Let's see here. Gain control, I want that on. And the color. Color should not be surf. Color should be white. Inputs and outputs are always white according to my rules. Okay, there we go. So the next thing we're going to need is an oscillator because you have to have some sort of sound source. So audio modules, and we're going to put an oscillator in. Oscillators could be red, that's fine, but we want a square wave. There we go. Nice. And let's go ahead and put the duty cycle on so we can have a nice little pulse width modulation. All right, I'm not going to connect the output of the oscillator to the output of the unit because that would make a loud sound. So first let's make a filter because that's the next thing you would want. Let's go audio modules, multi-filter, low pass, that's fine. Orange, good. All right, now we're going to want a VCA, audio modules, VCA. Mango's fine. One in, one out. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we've got the main components of the subtractive synthesizer. We got the oscillator, the VCF, or the voltage controlled filter, and the VCA, the voltage controlled amplifier. Now, this will be pretty boring in and of itself. We have our audio out going into the filter going into the VCA, and the VCA going into the audio out. Now, if we turn up the VCA level, you should hear the oscillator, and I can change the filter settings and you'll hear that happening, and that's all nice and whatnot, but it's kind of boring. You need something happening, and part of the way a 303 works is you've got this sequencer that runs the whole thing. So let's get a clock source going so we can drive the sequencer. I'm going to put an LFO down here, and that will be that'll be a control module, right? Where's that LFO? It's probably all the way at the top. There it is. LFO square, that's good. Yes, yeah, that's good. All right. Now I could drive the sequencer directly with this LFO. If I push this button, I can switch the LFO parameters from BPM to Hertz or milliseconds. I want BPM, and I'm going to drag that up to about 130 because that is the standard acid BPM from what I understand. So now this is pulsating at 130 BPM, but we probably want a clock divider on here so we can kind of change the speed. Let's get control module. Is that a clock divider? Where's that clock divider? Here we go. So I'm going to drop a clock divider in. Name clock divider. Yep, that's good. And I'm going to take the output of the LFO into the clock divider. Now here, I can have a reset switch or I can have a ratio. Now if I turn this up to 3, you can see every one time this pulses, it pulses 3 times here. And that'll probably be good for what we're wanting to do with our sequencer. You know what? Let's put a distortion in here too. Audio modules. That's an effects module. Because you can't really have... Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so let's take this. You can't really have a 303 without some distortion as well. So let's see, here's our VCA output. Let's go ahead and break those outputs and go instead into the distortion, and the distortion can go there. Yeah. All right, now we got that 303 sort of sound. All right, cool. So now let's make our sequencer. So I'm going to go back to the first page and I'm going to drop a sequencer in here. Let's see, where is that? Is that an interface module or control module? Sequencer, here we go. And I'm just going to do an 8-step sequencer for now. There we go, 8. Done. Okay, so these last two nodes on the module is the gate in and the CV output. So I want to attach my gate in to my clock divider output. So I'm going to hold the clock divider. I'm going to go back to this first page and plunge that in there, and that is going. We see it. And then we're going to take our CV output and we're going to plug that into our oscillator input. So let's go back here, go and then hold that, go back over here. Oscillator input, that is connected. Now, if we, you know what we need? We need some ADSRs. So let's drop those in. Let's make one for the filter, control module. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're gonna get an ADSR. Let's see here. Immediate release, blah, blah. It's kind of too big. Let's see here. Retrigger off. No, we don't need those. We just need attack decay. So we'll turn the sustain and release off to make it nice and compact. And that'll be there. Okay, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Turn that back off. There we go. And then done. Now we want the output of the ADSR to go into the filter. And we want the trigger from the ADSR to come from this clock divider. And then likewise, we want another ADSR for the amp. Where'd it go? I was right on it. Let's turn the SR off. The sustain and release, we don't need those. There we go. And we'll put that in there. And then that goes to level control. Oh. All right, let's turn that down for a second. All right, so now let's go back to our first page. Let's set up some sequence. All right, and here we have a 303 style sequencer going. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll see you next time.